Trae. Come on, it's the day with Trae. Trae. With Trae. With Trae. Come on, it's the day with Trae. Trae. With Trae. With Trae. Come on, it's the day with Trae.
Pump it up, pump it up.
Trae.
Come on, come on.
With Trae.
Pump it up, pump it up.
It's the day with
This is the day to gain inspiration, to make a positive change in the nation. We're inviting you to partake in conversation, to raise your vibration. It's the day that we will all celebrate all of our peaks that make this thing elevate. Watch the negative fade away, cause it's the day with Trae.
Grand Rising, everyone. Welcome to the Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. I want to welcome you to another magnificent Monday. I am so excited because joining me today, we got Dani Tirrel, the artistic director, and bringing us an amazing show, y'all. And I'm going to let him give us the title, but I'm excited about all of it. And then later on in the show, it is Third Monday. So we got our Menopause Mentor, Danyale Thomas, joining us to give us some more insight on how those with menopause and those approaching menopause can deal with some of those 36 symptoms. Wow. Of course, I want to thank y'all for joining me. It is the top of the show, so it's a perfect time for you to tag and share the stream right here. That's right. Participate with us by sharing the stream with those who you feel could benefit from a daily dose of dopeness right here on the Day with Trae. If you can't watch our TV show, we still have you covered because you can listen to us, y'all, anywhere you find your favorite podcast. Just search Converge Media Network and the Day with Trae. You'll find me on whichever platform is your favorite. Well, I'm excited, y'all, because Dani Tirrel is back in the Pacific Northwest area, the amazing artistic director of the congregation. What's up, Dani?
Hello, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
I am exhausted. I am jet lagged. That's how I am. Like, let me be honest.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you are here and there's a phenomenal show happening this week. But before we get into it, I just want to give our audience a bit of background because you are so well known in the dance world and beyond because you have been in this industry for a really long time, giving to young people, putting on amazing shows, choreographing amazing shows. Please tell us a bit about those beginnings.
Those beginnings started in Detroit, Michigan. When I was around 7 or 8 years old, and I was watching a show, our version of American Bandstand and Soul Train. We had a version of that in Detroit, and I used to emulate the dances on this TV show called The Scene. And my parents were like, "Do you want to dance?" And I said yes, and I had no clue what they meant, but I was like, "Sure, I want to dance," because I was always dancing around the house. And they put me into a dance school a few miles away from where we lived. And that's literally where it all started. And went to school for a little bit for dance, danced in a company in Detroit, did a little bit of touring with a children's show, and wound up here in Seattle, Washington in 2008.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, since your time here in the Pacific Northwest, I mean, you really, it feels like you took no time to embed yourself in the dance world. You know, your name has been synonymous with so many different house routines I've seen, right? Because you were bringing the house into the whole industry for us here. You know, what were some of those pivotal moments for you that really let you know you were on the right path as a choreographer and a dancer?
That's a great question. I can never have this conversation with me being in the Northwest without talking about Edna DeGray. When I first moved here, I was on the interwebs, and I was looking for like, where can I dance? What can I do with dance? And then I came across Awaja, and I think I like either cold called or emailed Edna DeGray, and we talked on the phone, and she was like, "Well, I'm going to pick you up and take you around." Didn't know this woman, new here from Detroit. And Detroit, we don't trust folks like that. We like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go with you. That's fine. And got in the car, and this woman took me to Langston Hughes. She told me about Broadway-bound Children's Theater. She told me about Northwest Tap Connection. And so without Edna DeGray being that pivotal in my first beginnings here, I wouldn't have gotten the work that I got. Her connection got me my first like 3 jobs here in Seattle. So I cannot have this conversation and not mention her at all. Like if it wasn't for Edna DeGray, you would have no Dani Tirrel doing any type of work in Seattle.
Well, that's beautiful, honestly,
Thank
because I
you.
mean, they talk about the Seattle freeze.
Right.
But I love when people can give a counter narrative to that entire story.
Right.
Because it's not true. I haven't experienced that. But I think some people, say, I get here, I don't know how to get into community. You got right into community.
Yes.
And then you really started to kind of pave your own lane. I mean, once people really got to know who you were and experience your work, I think there was a blaze of Dani Tirrel. I mean, I've seen you in so many different facets. It's pouring into young people. I want to talk about that because you have youth as a part of this amazing show that you're doing. But I want to talk about the importance of bringing the youth along as you were bringing your brilliance to this area.
That's all I know. I mean, it's people have done it for me. So whenever you have youth, you bring them along. Northwest Tap Connection, that played also a pivotal role in my existence here in Seattle. Again, Edna DeGray was like, hey, Northwest Tap Connection is looking for someone. Call Melba Iko. Didn't know who this woman was. So my partner and I were trying to figure out, like, where was Northwest Tap Connection? They were like, it's South Seattle. It's in Rainier Beach, Rainier Valley. And one of his coworkers was like, it's dangerous. I'm not sure if you want to go. I was like, okay. I was like, well, let me prepare, because coming from Detroit, when you say something is dangerous, the neighborhood is dangerous, you're like, okay, let me put my armor on. Let me okay, it's dangerous. I'm driving. I'm like, I'm looking for the danger. I'm like, okay, be ready for the danger. And I was like, oh, you just meant as Black people living here. I was like, this, for me, it wasn't dangerous. I walk into Northwest Tap Connection and I meet Miss Melba. And I was like, this woman is crazy. Yeah. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And we had a conversation and I was like, oh, she cares about the children. And when I was in Detroit, I was working for Detroit Winter Dance Academy, and it was all Black children, Black ran organization. And so I was used to this. I understood this. And I was like, okay, I don't know how I'm gonna last. Me and Miss Melba, I don't know about that. And I've been there since 2008 and still there on and off when I come into town. So that was another part of just trusting the process and trusting what is happening and understanding that those kids and families poured more into me than you about to give me.
Oh,
woo.
I love that.
I cry a lot, y'all. I cry a lot. But they poured more into me than I did into them. Wow. That's why I was there for so long. So.
Wow. Well, I got to tell you, I always look, because that's the real.
Yes.
And every time Northwest Tap Connection is mentioned, I brag about my god baby, Brooklyn. Okay.
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn's been there for a long time. And to be honest, I get to experience how much that love that you're pouring in, how it pays.
Yes.
How it pays it forward. So I just want to thank you publicly for that, because we need pillars like you in our community. So I'm pumped that you're back here in the Pacific Northwest. Baby, don't play. I'm definitely pumped. But you're bringing a new body of work.
Yes.
And this is really exciting because already I think people are really excited to see what this show is all about. Now, I thought it was just called Leviticus.
Nope.
And it is a longer title. Give us the title and the reason for the name behind this work.
So the work is called Leviticus, or Love and to Walk Amongst Humans. And this is book 1. So it's a dance in 3 parts. And the title for me is, it's really looking at and dissecting sin in the Bible. And if you are Black, if you are queer, if you are trans, if you are all of these things with a bunch of church around you, people reference Leviticus, you are sinful, you are this, all of these things. And I was just like, wait a minute, I know some really dope folks. I really know some beautiful people, and they embody everything that the church says that we're not. Or they embody all the things that the church feels that we are not. They embody love. They embody beauty. They embody generosity. They embody a selflessness. And I was just like, well, isn't that the spirit of the God that you want us to serve in these people that you said, because they live a certain way that goes against your thinking? And so I was really like, I need to fight that and combat that. And that's how the piece started. And it's not that anymore, because I was like, I don't want to tell you how worthy we are. We are. So I just want to talk about our beauty and our glory. So it went from like really being angry to really just like, oh no, we about to show you that like we are spirit.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I mean, so putting a piece together like this, there's a lot of kind of personal,
Yes.
narrative that you have to pour into this. Tell us about some of those nodes for you that you are bringing us along as the audience into that personal journey.
Right. So my background with my family is that my mother's side was they're Jehovah's Witnesses. So that's a whole nother thing. And then my father's side is Baptist. So I had these like very competing ideas and thought processes. And I knew for a long time I was queer. And so it was that struggle of just like, who are you? What are you going to do? And so don't speak about this and don't say anything about that. And I married a human. He is a church boy to his heart. Choirs, all of that other stuff. And I was like, I wound up with a church boy? Really? And through that, it allowed me to understand that I can be both and. I am. And so it's been putting that into it. It's been putting the fact of just like, we pray, and then we go burn incense for the ancestors. Like we look at things about church, and then we go to the club and shake our butts. And knowing that like all of that is spirit and God inside of me and inside of other people that I know. And then growing up with someone or being married to someone who grew up in church, that's an anchoring thing. And also his mind has expanded because he has to deal with me. That's going to also challenge those things. And so now he questions his upbringing. So that's part of what we pour into the work, is like, we can do these things and we can also do other things. Yeah. So
it's an important lesson too. And I mean, when you think about putting together a piece of work like this, that really is reflective of like personal story.
Right.
What are some of those things you want the audience to really walk away with after coming to the show?
I want them to walk away with understanding that we are all spirit. I mean, that's just it. We are all spirit. It's no matter where you come from. I think myself to this day, we judge people so harshly. So I can't be like, sit on a high horse. We judge people. And through this work, it's teaching me how to judge people less and less. It's teaching me like, if I want you to see my humanity, I have to see your humanity. And not everybody is worthy of that. Like, let's be honest. But if I want you to not look at me and judge me based on what you think you see or what you think you know, I have to give you the same thing. So if people can walk out of this experience like, yo, I got to change, like, they spirit, I'm spirit, and we just trying to work it out together. That's what I want people to understand about this work and walk away with.
Oof. Oh, I cannot wait to see this. Of course, we got to give you time. I want you to look right in that camera. You tell them where they, right here.
This
Social,
camera.
Yeah, there it is. Look and let them know how they get their tickets, when the show is popping off, because people need to come and see this. Let them know.
So the show is taking place April 20th and 21st at the Moore Theater on 2nd Ave in Seattle, Washington. You can go to stgpresents.org and purchase your tickets. There are tickets for sale. The Saturday show is at 7:30 p.m. and the Sunday show is at 3 p.m. And Saturday we have DJ Summersoft, who will be setting off the party before pre-show funk. So come out, enjoy, have fun. Yeah.
Dani, thank you so much for making time in your busy schedule to be with me today and to get us all on notice about why we need to come and see the show. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
I appreciate you. Y'all, I'm telling you, Dani got us going today. And up next, after this short break, we got Danyale Thomas back on screen with me. We're going to be going over those menopause tips that you need for our Menopause Monday segment right after this. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss it. You're watching The Day with Trae.
Looking for laughs? Looking for love? Fast Talking Figaro has got you covered. Toe-tapping melodies, lively staging, and colorful costumes. Don't miss The Barber of Seville, May 4th through 19th at McCall Hall. Tickets at seattleopera.org.
What's up, everybody? Trae Holiday here with a special announcement. Something sexy for the city is coming to our town, Tacoma Dome, May 3rd. You want to get your tickets today because you want to see Ashanti, Monica, Maya, Kiki Wyatt, and Anne Marie. Y'all, I have the pleasure of emceeing this phenomenal concert. Join me and get your tickets today for an epic performance from these R&B divas.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Day with Trae. Up next, we got our Menopause Mentor in the building. Joining us from the airwaves, Danyale. Hi.
Hello.
Oh,
Good to be joining you guys.
Yeah, thank you for still making this work. You know, this is a segment people are learning from. So I want to give you some time to let us know what kind of tips do we have for the folks this month for Menopause Monday.
This month, I'm talking about oral health issues that come up with perimenopause and menopause. It's one of the symptoms that is less known and less talked about. And so I want us to talk about it.
Well, you're talking about, so let me get this straight. There are actual dental issues that can occur with perimenopause and menopause. Please dive into this because this is definitely one of those things that's not on most folks' radar.
Yeah, it's not on most folks' radar, and it's still really important. Mouth dryness is a symptom that's associated with perimenopause. Burning mouth syndrome is a symptom. It affects your gums. Altered taste, bone thinning. Like there's this whole myriad of things that happen orally with perimenopause and menopause, really specific to the lack of estrogen in our systems. And a lot of women don't even realize that they could be possible symptoms. So they could be experiencing them and not knowing that where to contribute them, right? And so if this is something that they are experiencing, they need to definitely bring it to the attention of their dental professional, tell their doctor about it, because there are medications that you can be taking that could be making it even worse.
Wow. I mean, so this is when we talk about those compound effects, right? I mean, because you're right. If you're going through perimenopause or menopause and you have all these other things that you're trying to address, right, with different treatments, the fact that there's competing priorities here for the body sometimes has that kind of effect. I mean, when you think about people who are having these kind of talks in your, mainstreaming menopause group, what are some of those top things that folks are saying? Because I mean, how do you even know burning mouth is a thing, and that maybe you're not the only one experiencing this? It's not always easy to have that kind of conversation. How are they kind of molding those discussions and learning from one another with regard to these dental issues?
I think it's important for us to talk about it openly and honestly and say what's going on. But again, like I said, sometimes it's going on, you don't even know that that's what it's contributed to, right? So the more vocal women are, the more we research, the more we have these conversations, then we're realizing not only that we're not alone, but some of the things that we're experiencing can be contributed to menopause, right? Because sometimes we don't even realize that it is menopause. The other thing is that we're sharing solutions, right? We're sharing what we've tried, and what we found a doctor to say, and then comparing notes, and that makes a difference because sometimes your dentist might suggest one thing and it might not be working for you, but you can be talking to your sister and realize that there was something else that could have been possibly available to you that you didn't even know about. And it always really goes back to what are you putting in your body? Right. So if you have a big craving for sugar during this time, which is typical for women who are experience menopause, how can you control that? Alcohol has a big impact. on your dental health during perimenopause and menopause years with us not even really knowing it. So it's like this joke that they have that sit back and drink wine more because you're experiencing menopause, when in reality that's not always the best for you.
Wow. I mean, you're always blowing my mind, honestly, Danielle, because I'm like, again, I'm telling you, when we think about these 36 symptoms that we said we're going to really, start to go over on these segments, I was still like, all right, every time you bring one up, I'm blown away that that could be connected to menopause. And so I love that, you're having these opportunities to really bring this to the mainstream when it comes to menopause, because I think you're onto something here about a lot of women experiencing these symptoms and not knowing that it's something to do with menopause, especially if they're not getting that like major one, which is those hot flashes. Like if they're not experiencing that, maybe they don't understand that they're even going through menopause. Is this true? Like kind of where my thinking is going on this?
You're absolutely right. Because hot flashes are the only thing that we really hear about. We definitely don't think that we're going through menopause if we're not having hot flashes. But there's a whole lot of other things that could be going on. And I had a woman in mainstream menopause recently realize that she had been going through menopause for several years and hadn't even realized it, just based on other symptoms other than hot flashes that had been coming up for her.
I had a feeling because I'm telling you, even for me now, I'm in my 40s, so I'm like, okay, the things that you're sharing actually are applicable to my life. And I want to be really cognizant of what's going on in my body so that I can be able to ascertain where this may be coming from and really work with my doctor to be sure that I'm kind of in the know, right? So that it's not just feels like it's just happening to me and I'm not aware of it. Of course, if folks are trying to connect with you, if they want to join the Facebook group, please let them know how they continue to mainstream menopause and bring it into the general discourse.
Yes, please join us. Mainstreaming Menopause. We're a Facebook group. You can easily find us, and check in with your sisters and make sure that we are in conversation with one another so that we can all move forward together and combat menopause symptoms.
Absolutely. Danielle, thank you so much for joining me today. Always a pleasure.
Always.
Y'all, this is always one of those times for me on the third Mondays where I am completely shocked. I'm going to wrap up my shocked emotion right after this short break. Stay tuned. You're watching The Day with Trae.
Hello, welcome to Elite Insights with Carlos Imani. We're looking to offer an in-depth look at event production industry through the lens of client experiences and joint successes. The podcast will emphasize guest interviews, focusing on client discussing their fields and reflecting on their collaboration with Elite Collective. Again, you're with Elite Insights. Carlos Imani here. See you guys in a few.
Looking for laughs? Looking for love? Fast Talking Figaro has got you covered. Toe-tapping melodies, lively staging, and colorful costumes. Don't miss The Barber of Seville, May 4th through 19th at McCaw Hall. Tickets at seattleopera.org.
Welcome back, everyone, to The Day with Trae. I'm your host, Trae Holiday. I want to thank you for joining me again on this magnificent Monday. We are definitely getting into spring, and it was so great to spring into these discussions with my guest today. Huge shout out to Dani Tirrel for bringing his talent back to the Pacific Northwest and bringing us a show that will really get us to challenge our ideals around who is they? Who am I? We are all spirit, as he said. So I'm so grateful that he was here. And also a huge shout out to our menopause mentor, Danyale Thomas, always blowing my mind around the symptoms that we may be experiencing for those who may be in perimenopause or in menopause. There are a ton of things that are important for us to learn. So I always thank her for that. I want to thank you too for starting your week off with the Day with Trae. Of course, throughout the week, we got amazing guests for y'all. So we want to make sure y'all are tuning in the rest of the week. But I want to thank you for joining me today. And you know, for me, until tomorrow at 11 a.m., y'all, peace. Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.